welcome to the Next in Time podcast. I'm your host, ST, and today our guest is none other than Irina Poddubnaia. So, Poddubnaia, I hope I got that pronunciation right. She is the founder and CEO of TrackMage. The mission of the company is to make life easier for e-commerce entrepreneurs for automating as many routine tasks as possible. Their platform tracks shipments, upsells additional products, and handles automatic follow-ups for reviews and making sure that businesses reduce their time spent on customer support and be able to increase their sales by 5 to 10% on autopilot. So, Irina, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to join and be able to talk about why you're looking to, make this massive impact in the e-commerce space. And I just always wanted to say, you've been basically someone who's been all over the world and being able to, showcase, being able to help out e-commerce entrepreneurs in every way possible. So what was that experience like for you?
Well, I guess it just was a normal life for me because everyone is saying oh, you traveled a lot and you worked with so many international companies. For me, it was just life as usual. When it comes to just making an impact, what I value is just literally solving the same problems that I had to go through. And I was very much overwhelmed when we had to run our own fulfillment center in China. And I had to serve so many customers online with also packaging the boxes, handling logistics, communicating to suppliers, all at the same time.
Do you feel like this is a very complicated business platform or model, especially with, you're trying to place your whole infrastructure across the entire world. And let's say, for example, if one area shuts down for no apparent reason, for example, China shut down during COVID, and then you have to deal with all these fulfillment center issues. So do you feel like that's a very complicated business model to solve? What's your take on it?
Well, are you talking about TrackMage?
Just overall, the e-commerce business system where you have to place your systems all over the world and everything like that.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's more complex than typical business setups. The most important and the crucial part is marketing and still customer acquisition. So that still stays with social media, with advertising, with email marketing. But then the other part, the fulfillment, it can happen from any part of the world. Like some companies, they are fulfilling their orders not in China, but rather in India or in Nigeria and other places. It just doesn't, it's not restricted to specific suppliers from specific regions. Still, China is the most famous sourcing country, I would say. Because if you want to buy a product, the first thing that comes to mind is Chinese suppliers and Chinese factories.
So how were you able to manage this during the COVID pandemic in a way?
Well, during the COVID pandemic, I would like to specify that that business that we had in China, it was finished way before COVID. So that business was closed in 2016. So when we had the fulfillment center in China, that was just a one-off endeavor. That was the first business also. TrackMage is software as a service, so it's based online, so we don't have any location restrictions. And when the COVID struck, I would say that just the suppliers changed. People started sourcing products locally where they were. And it just changed the supply chain overall. But for TrackMage, it didn't change the business model or it didn't impact the business.
Yeah, it makes sense. And so do you feel that's the way it's going right now with e-commerce, it's going more in a very different direction in a way, because now, the issue with global supply chains is someday something's going to happen where the whole thing gets disrupted. But do you feel like you're able to, do you feel like that the world of e-commerce is looking to go more and more local, as you mentioned earlier? People want to buy within the area versus, it'll be a lot more, it's less expensive to ship and everything like that.
Well, it just depends on what kind of business model the business is running. So if it's some product that needs to be shipped to a customer in 2 days or less, definitely it's going to be sourced locally. That's the requirement, the prerequisite. But then where that product is coming from originally, and maybe they were ordered in bulk from China, and then the business had to wait 3 months for that product to be delivered to US, and then distributed through some fulfillment center or even Amazon, like fulfillment by Amazon. So it just depends because with the product and how the business is selling, like, and what kind of product the business is selling. Like if it's branded product, it's not possible to get more of it locally. Even if you try, you have to manufacture it somewhere. If it's not branded, if it's something generic, you can definitely find some local suppliers or even your fellow e-commerce store owners. They can sometimes have excess supply that they will be willing to sell to you at a lower price as a wholesale batch.
All right, cool. So let's get to know more, like, let's just shift gears and let's get to know more about Irina. Like, what made you, like, let's get to know more about, like, your background and what made you become the, like, one of the people in the e-commerce space, let's say. Like, you say you're originally from Bulgaria, right?
Yes. So I guess there were... Like originally, I started working with like in a company that was selling goods online, in bulk. Those container shipments. We were selling frozen berries, so that was the origin story. At some point, I thought that I know about everything, like what needs to be known in this business, and then I left the company and I thought that I'm going to start my own business. I never had a preference for selling specific product. I just thought that I could sell literally anything. And that's how, at some point, we went to China. So I met my husband, we got married, and we went to China to start a business. That's the typical chronology of my life.
I mean, let's say before you became an e-commerce, like, what were you like in it as a person? Like growing up?
Please define what does it mean to become an e-commerce? Because, like, I really cannot...
No, before you started your career in this space, let's say, What were you like before? Like, were you kind of someone like who was very entrepreneurial? Were you someone very, someone who was very shy or someone very excited, something like that? Like,
if we're talking about childhood, so like I was very closed, I wouldn't say that I was, I always considered myself an introvert, even though I wasn't.
You don't seem like an introvert right now. I mean,
yes, I don't seem like an introvert, and there is a specific Myers-Briggs profile for my case, because every ENTP thinks they are an introvert. Like, I am an ENTP. It's an abbreviation for, like, extrovert, thinking, what was that? TP, like prospecting, and and intuitive. Yeah. So
that's what will be that personality? I forget for the ENTP. Like, you're more actual.
Like, it's called debater. Basically, like, I can talk about anything and everything, and I always have my own opinions. Plus, I'm very quick to make decisions and all that stuff. So yeah, it's just that kind of personality. When I was growing up, I thought that I was introverted because I didn't enjoy conversations with my peers. I enjoyed conversations mostly with my teachers. And I always thought that I am more intelligent than the general plebs around me, just because I was reading books when nobody was reading books at the time. Yeah, and when I went to university, what happened was a big shift. I found my first job as a promoter. I was literally the flyers and selling bottled water.
Well, that's like, considering the fact that you said you were an introvert, like how are you able to go from being someone who's very non-communicative, let's say quiet, and non-communicative, to someone who's out there saying, hey, here's some bottled water for $5 for $2.95 or something.
Well, yeah, it was the bottled water was delivered to offices, so it was a little bit more expensive than $2.95, but yeah.
No. That was just like a hypothetical price like that.
Right.
In the high end. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm not going to quote you. So the thing is, that was my assumption that I was an introvert, because I never quite literally fit in with the peers. I wasn't able to make friends or just fit in. So the interests were very different. I was always reading some business books or psychology books or some of those business-like books that were talking about neuro-linguistic programming. So I was always very curious about how this all works. I think like Think and Grow Rich was one of those books as well. So like I was reading all this kind of books that were not a fit for a 12-year-old, for example, or for a 9-year-old. I was the odd one out, I would say. Most of the time.
I was like, well, I mean, this was all, were you able to read this all in English or Bulgarian? Or?
In Bulgarian, like there are translations available. So it was just the books that I was able to get. Like I also read some esoterics or some like magic like things. But then again, that was the time where I wanted to understand how is this world working? I was really curious about this, like to a point where I wanted to become a physics major. Like I wanted to really like go to the university and study physics. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Like that future got warped because like I failed my exams, my entrance exams to become a physics, the bachelor at least. At that point, the only other option available was the degree in international marketing. So like it was literally from physics to marketing. Like I was very bored with the university. That's why I worked most of the time. Yeah.
And so now, like, fast forward to now you became someone very like highly communicative, articulate with your words, and now going into the to the e-commerce space. So what was that like?
I wouldn't say that I have chosen this per se, because I have been very open-minded to whatever happens. So what we did, we just went to China because we thought that we are going to have this competitive edge and find the products that are like in the other parts of the world, they cost more. So we wanted to find the best prices, the cheapest suppliers, or even the best suppliers in the world. Yes, we found a lot of suppliers, but then we had to find the demand. That was the unfortunate truth, but we had to do the sales, we had to find our customers, and then we went to China, we didn't have any customers. What
were you selling? I forget.
In China, we were selling the ability to buy products. So we literally were the intermediary agent. Like whatever you want to buy from Chinese suppliers, you just come to us. We will help you buy it. We will verify the quality, package the goods, and then send it to your country.
You were so any country, right? You were not just like a middle. You were not just simply like selling let's say Chinese-made products to Bulgaria.
Yes.
Okay.
We were not focused like that. Maybe that was a mistake, because that's why the business was very scattered, and we were dealing with various goods where we literally had no idea how to test those. And that led to some quality issues or some unfortunate sales where, for example, one customer ordered an industrial module for the printing press. We bought the part. We verified that the serial number matched. We verified that it was indeed a module, because for us it just was a big piece of metal. That's it. We packaged it, we sent it to the customer, and then the customer, when they received it, even though they've seen the photos, they said that this is the wrong part. We said, how is that possible? Like, all the labels, we were matching. But it indeed was the wrong part, because we haven't measured it with a centimeter. We haven't measured how long it was or how wide it was. And that was essential, because the supplier actually deceived us. They changed the labels.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're spread out way too thin, sometimes you get a little too. It's a little bit overwhelming. You start. That's when mistakes start happening, and that kind of causes sometimes the business to fall. And then I don't know if it's fell, but let's just say it became more complicated to be more. It should be more.
We actually were competing with some platforms like AliExpress, for example. So we were literally just offering all the products from China, like whatever you want to buy. Yeah, we're going to be your agent. We're going to consolidate the goods, whatever you buy, and then we ship it to your country. So we helped businesses. Our customer base was consisting of retailers who were selling products from their stores online in their countries, and we were their supplier, basically. So we helped them source the goods from Chinese suppliers and then consolidate them and ship to them, and then they were selling them to their customers in their country.
Yeah, and now fast forward. Now we're gonna move on to TrackMage right now, because you've seen these problems that you've seen with e-commerce, like with the overall the complicated structure, the quality assurance of the product, to now selling them to the right customer, like shipping them to the right customer. So it's like what TrackMage, what you're trying to build is a system that makes things easier in this overall structure, right?
Yes. What I would say is that we already had the system when we were working with all those customers. We already had the system left when we left China, and we were no longer in the facilities on premises. The business couldn't exist without us there. But then we had all the systems that we used in the warehouse, that we used with the customers when we were tracking the products and even the buying process from suppliers. That's why we focused our efforts on the shipment tracking, notifying the customers, and also on fulfillment side. Right now, we're still finishing bits and pieces so that it really represents what it needs to be. So the thing is, it's complex. When we were getting into this business and we already had the system, we had this false assumption that there is nothing else that we should learn. But again, multiple businesses, they have different models. So that's why we had to abstract it to a point.
Yeah.
Now we support like whatever workflow the business actually has. So we have custom statuses for orders. So if you import orders from Shopify, you will see Shopify statuses. If you if you import orders from WooCommerce, you will see WooCommerce statuses. And this doesn't create any confusion for the retailers. So they just literally see like, oh, here's the status here and the status here. They are matching like one-to-one.
Okay, and now tell me about how you build TrackMage. That's just like you say, it's a SaaS product.
Yes,
it is meant for that. So how does the structure look like in terms of like, let's say when you're using the app, what?
Okay, well, let's step back first. Like, what is TrackMage overall? So remember how on Amazon, when you order a product, they show you this page where you see like the estimated delivery date for the product. You see where the product is right now. Is it traveling to you? Is it still at the supplier's facilities? And when they just notify you when the status changes. So this is the tracking information. And after that, when the product gets delivered, they ask you to leave a review about that product. So
yeah.
All this fancy functionality is available on Amazon, but on the other platforms, it's not included by default. So TrackMage has all this functionality available for systems like Shopify, WooCommerce, and other systems like ClickFunnels. We are Zapier. So we have a Zapier integration where you can just literally hook the tracking page and all the post-purchase experience tools with any system that you are using through Zapier. So it's for automation purpose.
So basically TrackMage is just trying to integrate itself with different e-commerce platforms in a way, right?
Yes, exactly. So we don't mean to become another e-commerce platform. We don't want to provide like the entire experience with like the cart, with the storefront and etc. because there are so many tools that already do that.
Yeah, because that's like sometimes you've noticed like when there's way too many products out, like way too many platforms out there, people start getting confused and people start getting like dismayed over it. So what you're trying to do is just be like the support system for these e-commerce platforms in a way,
yes.
Right?
And also there is a significant gap on the market with all those funnel builders or some page builder tools, because we don't have any capability to process orders, to manage all this, like everything that happens after the customer presses the buy button. So that's why TrackMage is this plugin solution where you can plug it in to your existing store, and it's going to handle all this complicated process on the backend. So it's basically for simplifying the processes on the backend and automating as much as possible with customer support.
So how many customers do you have currently working with TrackMage?
Currently we have something short of 1,000. So that's where we are currently. Not all of them are paid. Unfortunately, we have a forever free plan with 100 orders per month. Yeah, that's the majority is still free.
So it's free. So what your plan right now is to be able to build a subscription service, right? It's not like it's not like a quick like a full on product where you buy one time and then it's on you. It's more like you're basically offering subscription in a way.
Yes, we offer subscription based on how many shipments the business actually is processing. That's why our best customers are wholesalers, because we have thousands and thousands of shipments. And we love wholesalers because all the functionality is optimized for working with teams and actually showing all the packages on the same page for wholesale orders.
And so why is it deemed necessary? Let's say, for example, there's plenty of moving parts. They can, a lot of e-commerce platforms can just basically have their own ways of how to manage the load, or be able to have their own TrackMages set up for them. Why do you feel like you need to be able to be the service provider for that?
I think that's a far-fetched assumption that all the e-commerce systems, they can just handle it on their own. What typically happens is that once Shopify, for example, introduced the functionality of shipment tracking, what they do is they just plug in the UPS link. That's what they do. They don't provide any post-purchase experience where you control what the customer sees. So the biggest difference is that it's an opportunity to sell additional products to the same customers and to keep the experience branded from end to end. So what typically happens in e-commerce businesses, that they provide the tracking information to their customer via a link to DHL, FedEx, UPS, or whatever carrier page that they are using. On that carrier page, there is information about the shipment, and there is no information about the product that they bought. And they don't even have any recollection of which brand is it coming from. Then what also happens is that customers, they are typically checking those pages 1 or 2 times per day. That's a lot of traffic to give to UPS, FedEx, or DHL. Yeah. And since that is happening, what we've seen after we introduced the additional upsells on the tracking page is that from 7 to 10% of customers, they convert to an additional sale, to the second sale, before they even get their first product.
And so what challenges do you see in fostering what you're building right now?
There is this assumption that the customer support or the post-purchase experience is just this unnecessary or not very important part of the business. That's what we're accompanying. Yeah.
Like for example, if you see that whenever you say once you purchase it, people, they always provide a survey, right? Oh, tell me about your experience, and then do you like it? Do you not like it? It is very one-dimensional in the way it's structured. That's my experience all the time. It's like, okay, what do you think? Give me 5 stars or 3 stars or whatever. And then that's basically it there. I think what you're doing right now is just get the feedback, and then from there have the provider provide another add-on. Is that what you're doing?
I'm not sure I'm following fully what you're implying, but I think you're talking about once the product gets delivered, then the system asks them for a review, and then they leave a 5-star review or
leave a 5-star review. Then afterwards, there's more activity happening. That's what I implied.
No, it happens in the meantime,
not immediately, but after they buy, maybe a couple of days later, when the provider then provides a new product for the customer to buy. Like, okay, I'm glad you enjoyed your experience. Here are some new recommendations.
No, it's not how it works. Let's go through a process. So typically, when the customer buys something from the store, they press a button, they fill in the checkout, they check out basically, and then they receive an order confirmation email, and that's it. And after that, they have to wait for 14 days, depending on how the supply chain is structured with different stores. So the delivery time differs. So the thing is, during that time, there is no communication from the store. Sometimes the store starts sending marketing emails trying to upsell more products, but that's not the information that the customer is looking for. The customer is looking for information about the status of that same order that they already placed. So what TrackMage capitalizes in is this interest, that the customer is interested in where the package is. And once they receive those emails, they perceive them as transactional, not marketing emails. And that's why they open them. The open rate for those emails is 60%. And after that, once they go for the link, they go to a tracking page. The tracking page has the logo of the brand. They have the brand colors. It has also the products that the store is currently selling, besides the one that they are already expecting to receive. And not only that, there are also links to the social media of the brand, where they can engage with social content while we're waiting. And as I said, customers visit those pages if we're waiting eagerly for the product to be received. we visit them for 1 or 2 times per day. And then, since they see the social media, they see additional products, they convert to additional sales. Plus, they don't have to pester customer support. They don't send those emails like, where is my order? Or they don't open the chat with the customer support for that reason, because we already know that's proactive communication. That's why, and in the end of this process, the customer gets us a review, to leave a review. So, and with business actually can prevent some negative reviews from leaking to social media, and some positive reviews can be leveraged as social proof to sell more products, or even share them on social media so that they can attract more customers from the friend lists or followers of those customers with bots.
All right, cool. And so where do you see TrackMage going in the next couple of years? You said you have 1,000 customers that are using your free subscription, but now where do you see this going in the next?
Well, I didn't say that all of them are using it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's just say thousands of people, but then a handful of people are paying for the subscription. But anyway, so okay, I'm just kidding. There's too many different moving parts to it. But anyway, so where do you see this going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, currently we're working on the robust fulfillment functionality. So we're finally going to automate that part that actually gave me a lot of headache when we were working with Chinese suppliers. So we're going to be able to provide the fulfillment parts where you can buy multiple, basically what our systems are missing on is that one order doesn't equal one shipment. It can be 2 different shipments, it can be multiple shipments with one single order. And this flexibility is missing from our systems. Also, all order items, they can be in different shipments. And you need to track each one to make sure that there are no mistakes and everything is on track. Then we have the analytics, the data is playing a huge role in this process to optimize the carrier performance, to optimize the entire workflow of the system. The system that the business has in place. I'm not talking about TrackMage as the system. I'm talking about the system that people actually work in. Sometimes we use Excel spreadsheets. Sometimes they just have to invent their own systems with customizable tools. So what we've noticed is that there is no system that is specifically catering to e-commerce needs, because e-commerce needs are very different from typical, let's say, marketing department or IT department. There are a lot of tools that cater to those needs. But for e-commerce, you need to work with orders, with shipments, with suppliers, etc. So that's why I have a very solid background in project management and all that. That's why we're kind of putting all the best practices into the system as well. So analytics is going to become a very robust. Project management functionality is going to be introduced to the e-commerce one on top of it. And then our marketing widgets and everything that is related to the post-purchase experience, the custom tracking pages. We're going to introduce banners. We're going to introduce more marketing functionality with pop-ups, the timed promotions, and all of that is coming. We're working.
Yeah, that's a large vision right there coming in the coming years. So anyway, Irina, I just want to thank you for your time and for coming, and also for coming on the Next in Time podcast. And I'm looking forward to seeing how TrackMage can make a massive impact in the coming years in the e-commerce space.
Thank you very much. And I'm also hoping that your podcast is going to make a dent and it's going to go viral massively.
I'm hoping so, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you.